How's it going, everyone? We got... Oh my god, I have a brain fart. Devin, I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
We got Devin here, who actually was able to get first place win Imperiadramon. Just to let you guys know, in our locals, Imperiadramon has been a go-to deck for people who are getting into Digimon. Very reliable, really great deck. It can bump up. It can be very inexpensive, or it can be expensive just by splashing in some Omnimon. How about you walk us through? I know we did a deck profile before with you getting second place. Did you make any changes to your deck?
Yeah, the one change was changing a 2-drop level 3 vanilla. It's all good. A 2-drop level rookie vanilla to another Gabumon. So I went from 7 vanilla rookies to 6. And then a full playset of Gabumons. Reason being, my loss last week was to security control, and just having your rookie be able to replace itself was really important. It actually came up a lot today because I was up against 2 Megazoo-ish decks, so being able to, like, if they give you 10 memory, the ability to keep on going and drawing cards is, like, really important. So I think it actually mattered a lot. Or, not a lot, but it definitely helped my matchup. So, but it's less good in the more efficiency-oriented matchups where you really care about, you know, squeezing in rookies for 2. So, like, maybe green, which I did go up against a couple times, or, like, maybe red Omni or something like that. So it's a bit of trade-offs, but I think it worked out. It definitely clutched out those couple games against Megazoo. But yeah, I'll just walk through it again relatively quickly. 5 babies for Demi Vmon for jamming, drawing cards. Game's going long, so I think the extra baby helps. So pretty standard there. Standard for Jammy Vmon, aggressive, helps you go fast, draw off your Demi V. Always run it as a 4 of. And then, like I mentioned, I am now down to 6 vanillas. They are important, help you be efficient, flood the board, choke your opponent. But I like I mentioned, I like having the extra Gabumon because it does help you in those more grindy matchups. And even if it's not a grindy matchup, you need to find your Imperial and ideally your Pale, but you need to find your full line for the deck to be really effective. So I think the extra card draw definitely helps there, for sure. And then that's it on my rookies, 14 of those. And then for level 4s, for Gorilla, Digivolve up efficiently, important to climb up your line and potentially go into your Omnimon pretty quick. Frigimon, whenever you have a rookie, it helps you get your jamming trigger off your Demi V. Feels bad to get blocked by blockers, so the 4K DP is like a little bit feels bad there. That's why I don't run out full 4 of, but I feel like 3 of is nice. Also, the 4 to hard drop is pretty good too. It's kind of just like a bit of a worse Vmon, but you're happy running even more copies of it. X Vmon didn't come up a lot today because people played around it, but the ability to restand your Frigimon and your Vmon with jamming just helps you give a bit more push over the edge sometimes. But I think it did actually win me a game, so it's dead sometimes. That's why I don't run it a full 4 of, but it definitely comes in clutch to get some extra swings in.
Now, when you say people played around it, what do you mean?
So, for example, one of the games I had, I believe it was, I think it was an Elecmon on a Demi V in security, and then a Vmon hard cast. I'd rather have the Vmon on the thing in raising, but I drew into the Vmon from the Elecmon. So that was the game state, and I was like, oh, like if he passes turn, I can swing with Vmon, X Vmon restand, and then you know, swing again, and then potentially swing with X Vmon too, and that's, you know, 6 damage or 3 damage right out of the gate, and that's just really powerful and hard to come out of. And the Vmon sticks around too, so they have to, you know, trade or something like that. And sometimes you can even like hard cast a blocker afterwards to protect your Vmon or something. So that's just like a really explosive start. And people like in that case they played. I think they popped it with something, or they hard cast a blocker, and it's just like, well, then the restand is irrelevant because it can't get through the blocker. So yeah,
that's actually what I do against Vmon decks too.
Yeah, yep, that is how you're supposed to play it.
It's rough because, like, you know, you don't want to give them, like, sometimes you're just at that 0, but man, hard casting 5 memory, you don't want to give them that, but you don't want that free damage on.
Yep. No, I think it's correct. I think it's totally correct to hard cast blockers against both Rookie Rush and this deck, because if they have that blowout line, like, it's so hard to come back, right? yeah, it's just really rough. So I think that's the correct thing. And on that note, I do play 3 Grizzlies to have that option against the opponent if they are playing Blue Imperial or a Rookie Rush of some sort. I didn't go up against that today, but I like having the option. Also, just having blockers to slow down the game a bit is good. Not as aggressive, but I do like my deck being a bit more mid-rangey. I have more control than the average deck, and I have more blockers than the average deck. So I like being able to be a bit more, the ability to go into the long game a bit better. So that's all on level 4s. I do run 13 of those. And then the 4 Pale, 4 Dino Beast, Standard. This thing makes your Imperial crazy, and this thing being able to swing over blockers or rested Digimon is nice. A pretty interesting play that I do sometimes, I'm like sitting on a level 4, and then I like swing in with, I don't know, like a rookie, like a Vmon or a Vanilla or something, and if they have a blocker, they'll block it sometimes, and I go into Dino B and swing over it just to get a bit more board control. It's just a pretty interesting line. And yeah, Pale is just broken because it makes Imperial swing 2 times, which is good. So a lot of times you'll just sit on Pale in security, and you'll bring it out, get 3 swings in, you swing it with Pale, then you restand with Imperial, swing with Imperial, he restands off the Pale inheritable, and then you swing again, and that's just a lot of bursts out of nowhere. So yeah, full playset of Imperial 2. It's your boss monster. That play, like I said, is pretty disgusting, and also restands all your other jammers. It's kind of hard to happen sometimes. Like, you'd like to go wide with like Vmons and Frigimons, so then you can restand them all and get more swings, but that tends to not happen as often as you like, because again, people kind of know what this deck is trying to do, so they'll clear off your rookies. Like, I've gotten Volcanic and Alter S multiple times when I've tried to set that up today, but I kind of knew that was going to happen, so I play around it to the best of my ability, and you just try to force them to play it, but still hold some amount of value in rookies in hand and not play out my entire hand. So yeah, there's that, and then I do run the 2 Omnimons. Like I said, I like removal. 15k body is useful, and double attacking can close out games as well. Cool. 3 Davis, Standard. I feel like I see him enough. Finds your Dino Bees if you need to find your level 5. Finds your Imperial. If you have no rookies in hand, play it on turn 1. Find your rookie. Unbreaks hands. Great card. 4 Hammer Spark, Standard. Broken card. Helps you not get choked. So if you don't have Memory Tamer out, you can go up into 3 to do your Imperiadramon thing. Also, a lot of games today against Red Omni, I aggressively used Hammer Spark to choke them so that they couldn't build up their line like super fast, and I was able to put a lot of pressure on them by choking them very frequently. I think I used 3 Hammer Sparks to choke them at 1. And then lastly, 2 Kakai's Breath. I like having more removal that isn't contingent on having a Imperial on field. Just being able to hardcast from your hand whenever you want is really useful. And it helps out with more like late game big blocker focus matchups. So they have a Ragnar with a blocker under it, Kakai's Breath it away, and hopefully they don't have another Bribery Ludramon under it. Or something like that. So definitely came up in my match against Megazoo today. And sometimes it's also crazy off security too, which is super helpful. So yeah, that's the deck.
So we had 24 players today, so that was like 5 rounds. From your 5 rounds, what did you play against? And if you could just give us a brief matchup.
Yeah, sure. So first round was against Green Sarah's. It went pretty smoothly. Nothing really super out of the ordinary there. He didn't brick any games, but he just didn't have the Boncho Stingmon when I had my rested guys. I'm pretty sure he ran Boncho, and I just kept his board pretty clear the whole time. And I was pretty aggressive one of the games too. And when you're aggressive, you kind of just blow the other person out. But there was no bricking going on. He just didn't have the late game. Because of my removal, I think I got like a couple good like swings over his Digimon off, and I also omnied him. And it was just like the green decks kind of run out their hand a lot of the time. So if you can kind of get the game to go longer, it's a pretty decent matchup. Next, I went up against. It was a pretty interesting deck. He built it last night, and it definitely could use some tuning. But it was like a Mastamon Megazoo-ish deck, so it was like with Kaiser Nail, so it ran Mastamon stuff, so you could like
so tricolors.
It was honestly like 4-color.
Oh.
4-color.
Wow.
4-color, yeah, 4-color. So the low end was some blue stuff, some Vmons, and then the blue mats. That's pretty standard for Mega Zoo, so that you can play your Kaiser Nail, which is the crazy thing in Mega Zoo, which is a blue cost option, and you play one of your Digimon that's under another one of your Digimon, and you get on play effects, which is the crazy part. So you play Megas that have crazy on play effects, go on top of them, and then poop them out again to have another on play effect. So his whole thing was like some low end with purple to fill up his graveyard for Mastamon and Piedmon, as well as some jamming Vmons to put on a bit of extra pressure. Then at the level 5s, he had Chimeramon for removal and Magna Angemon for a bit of recovery, and he could go Mastamon on top of those. So that was kind of like the Mastamon package. And then he also ran, it was 3 Machine Dramons and then 3 Piedmons. Machine Dramon, a bit of board control and a big blocker, and then Piedmon helps you go wide. And then you have Millenniumons to go on top of the Mastamons and then those other 2 Megas. And then when you Kaiser Nail out a Piedmon, so you get the Piedmon ETB, put out 2 guys, and then, you know, Millenniumon remove something, and then Kaiser Nail out the Piedmon, bring back 2 guys, that's like a pretty game-winning play, right? It's just he was a little bit inconsistent. He definitely could do some tuning, but he ran both like purple and blue eggs for his Vmon and his rookies to fill his yard for Piedmon and Mastamon. It's like, it's probably not the right play. You should probably just commit to one, because it just makes the deck inconsistent. It's already inherently inconsistent because of, like, you know, you have your blue mats that don't really do that much, and then you have your Megas, and it just can get like kind of crazy. But I thought the deck was really interesting. It's just it was inconsistent. He did brick one game and didn't have the best hand, but I also didn't have a great hand, so I was like hard slamming Imperial, and it was like crazy. I had like lethal on board with going into Imperial to like resand my other Imperial, but he hit a Trump Sword, but it ended up fine. So that was a super interesting deck. Next up was Red Omni. The player was new to the deck really well. It was a super close set. I won that one 2-1. The first 2 were 2-0s. But that was the set where I was just choking him a lot with Hammer Spark and trying my best to play around Alteress and Omni Amon, but I was able to aggro him here and there, and then Omni his Omni, and yeah, just keep him as choked as possible so I could still run my offense with my small jammers. Next was Red Black Mega Zoo. That one was pretty close, also a 2-1. A lot of hard slamming Bribery Ludramons, and then going into either Alter S, which cleared my board, which was pretty rough, and then Ragna's to have a big blocker. Both of those are big blockers. So that was pretty difficult, but same thing. Tried to I had to take the game late, use my Omnimons to clear their big stuff. Kakai's bred things with blocker under it to stall it a bit, and yeah, just try and run my offense to the best of my ability. So really close set there. And then last, I was up against Green Saris again. 2-0, close 2-0 though, close games. I think his misplay was playing out the Boncho for no real reason, and he didn't run over an Imperial or an Omni. So I Omni'd his Boncho, and he only had one other Boncho in the deck. So I could kind of just, again, run my offense with my Imperials and Omnis, and he couldn't really do much against that. Again, it was kind of in the same first set. Green doesn't have the long game as well, so I just kept on clearing the board, and he just couldn't keep up with my value, which is funny because this is an aggro deck, but like I said, I kind of have a good amount of value with the Gabumons, blockers, and then Omnis. So yeah, that was my lineup today. Definitely the hardest matchups were the Red Omni and Mega Zoo, just because that Alter S can just wipe your board. You have Friggies, and your XVmons are 4K, so if you're on your Pale or Dino B, when they de-digivolve, you lose those, so that's always kind of rough. But again, I tried to play around to the best of my ability. A hard slam blocker so they couldn't de-digivolve. I had like the opportunity, I think, to play a Gabu and digivolve on top of it to get more card cycling, but I actively chose to just hard slam it so that I could play around the Alter S, and he Alter S. So yeah, that you need to keep that in mind. Hard slam your blockers so that you can't get de-digivolved there. So those matchups are definitely tough because, again, big blockers and a lot of removal. The Volcanics as well. I got Volcanic like a good amount of times, but that's why the Gabus are good. They replace themselves and help you go a bit longer. So I like the deck. I kind of like chucking in the extra Gabu. I do think it's not as good against, again, those decks where you need to be as efficient, but I think the longevity is definitely nice.
Yeah, appreciate you walking us through your matches. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that would love to see, you know, the thought process, especially you went second place last week. I think you've only been here like, what, 3 times now?
Yep, this is my 3rd week, yep.
So the first time you played, where did you place?
I placed 3rd. I lost my first round. I think I punted. I haven't really played the Imperial Mirror, and it was just my first time playing the matchup, so it was a little bit. But then I went 3-1 after that. I have my matches actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you keep a record.
Yeah, I keep a record.
Smart.
I started doing this. I saw some other people do it. I know other people doing it. It just helps you with your just keep track of how well you're doing and how your matchups look. And then it was like Old Force, Red Ragna, Green Saris. And Old Force is kind of just not the most meta deck. I could just run them over pretty quick. And Red Ragna, Kakai Speth is great. And then, yeah, the second week I kind of was like 4-1, but one round was a bye. So beat Green Saris twice, Ragna Red once again, but it was like a Crest Room on Ragna Red, so it was like pretty interesting. Kind of went wide there, had more blockers and like on play effects and whatnot. And then my last loss was against the Red Yellow Security Control, which there is the deck list up there. But it went 2-1, super close, tough matchup. But yeah, lost that one. So again, that's why I actually added the Gabu, is because I think I mean it's super minor, it's one card, but that Gabu to go a bit longer against like those late game decks is definitely useful. So yep, did pretty well. So 3-1 the first week, kind of 3-1, 4-1 the second week, and 5-0 this week. So nice.
Yeah.
Close it out.
Can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. We might even have a pizza party just because we had 24 players today. We're going to check to see with our other games if they can stack up. We had 16 players for Digimon Overdress. Meant to say Card Fight Vanguard Overdress yesterday. So you got 16 players there. We're going to have a Final Fantasy tournament later tonight, so we'll see how many people show up. Yeah, well, thank you for your time. Can't wait to see how you do next week, and especially everyone else, too, because now they're gunning for you. I mean, you went from third, second, now first. Oh, man, they got a hit on you.
Yeah, I'll keep on doing my best. I mean, it's a card game, so bound to, lose some games eventually, but you can't, John. Got to play the decks to the best of your ability and make your deck, as immune to bricking as possible.
And for those people who don't understand, John is a term from Smash. Yeah, so, all right, well, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, hit the notification. Yeah, check us out. We're up in the Bay Area, NorCal. We got people coming from all over, San Jose, Vallejo, Stockton. I mean, people are coming here for some Digimon, and it's great. It's great to see so many varieties of players.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for holding the tournament. It's great to come out here and jam some Digimon with some really cool people. And yeah, other than that, shout out to my two friends that I play with. They are good practice partners, Thomas and Malachi.
Hi.
And yeah, that's kind of it.
All right, thank you guys for watching, and peace.